Today became the first official day that the Lakers can explore a potential Utah Jazz trade, and we even got reports last night that the Jazz and the Lakers are negotiating and having conversations about a potential trade. Right now, it's just in the conversation stage, so we don't know what could get done or what will get done or if it'll get done at all. If you want all the ins and outs and all the details, link down in the description below. Go check out that video after this video. But to kind of briefly explain what is going on, the Lakers are very likely going to get two of these three guys as well as Beasley. Right now, the word is that it's going to be Conley, Beasley, and Bogdanovic, which would be a solid return for the Lakers. They would just have to work out the draft compensation. That's what the negotiations are really about. The players, based on the Jazz beat insider for The Athletic. Again, go check out that video down in the description below if you want all the details. But according to him, the players' part is already kind of been worked out. They know what they're going to get in return for the Lakers. It's just working on the draft compensation. They need to work out, are they giving up both first, one first, a first and a pick swap, a first and, a couple picks, second round picks, like what is going to end up happening. But ultimately, it's looking like it's going to be Conley, Bogdanovic, and Malik Beasley. Now, obviously, Bogdanovic would be great for the Lakers. You got that three-point sniper, the guy that can knock down shots. Conley, I think, is a much better fit than Jordan Clarkson. Know a lot of people prefer Jordan Clarkson, but Jordan Clarkson shot 42% from the field the last two seasons. He actually shot less than 42% last season. He's like 31% from three, something like that, the last several years. He's a shot clunker and would have to break some serious habits that he built in Utah because Utah kind of just let him shoot and throw up whatever he wanted to do. With Conley, you get a veteran that can shoot the three ball, handle, can play on the ball, off the ball, can alleviate LeBron, which was the whole idea when the Lakers got Westbrook. Give LeBron a break. Well, that's what you get in Conley. You could start Conley, you could have him come off the bench. It would be a solid move. He's a much better fit than Jordan Clarkson. But obviously the young guys are the key, right? Beasley is going to be likely included in this package just because Utah has to move off of guys. They have like 19, 20 guys on their roster, and they can only keep 15. So two of those players are on two-way deals, so they have to move about 3 to 4 players from their roster. And that is where the Lakers come in. You could either do a deal with several different teams or just lump it all into one. Problem is, too, is that the Jazz, who's going to just take these guys without giving salary in return, which they can't do. You can't do a one player for one player swap. You have to find somebody that would take 2 or 3 of these players, and there's not a lot of teams out there that would do that without the Jazz taking on a bad contract. A team like Miami, they would probably unload Duncan Robinson for like a Beasley and a Jordan Clarkson. But do you really want Duncan Robinson's 4 years, $22 million or whatever it is? No, you don't. You're a rebuilding team. It makes no sense. The other alternative would be to give up assets to have other teams take these guys. You don't want to do that if you're the Jazz. You want to that's why Westbrook makes so much sense, because he's the only contract of that size where you could basically solve all your problems. Here you go. Here's 3 or 4 players in a deal. We take back Westbrook. We buy out Westbrook. Boom. Now we have our 15, 14-man roster spot. It's a great situation, and that's why this deal is likely going to be the most realistic deal for both sides to get done, and that's also why the Lakers likely won't have to give up both firsts, because you're helping the Jazz too. The Jazz need the help, and the Lakers are in a position where they want some of the old vet guys. They want some vet guys. They got plenty of youth. You need some vets to intermingle with the young guys. And you also would get a young guy in Beasley. Now, obviously, the Lakers are going to try to get Vanderbilt as well, but I just don't see the Jazz trading Vanderbilt. That was the prize in the Wolves deal, and I imagine they're going to want to keep Vanderbilt. But besides the Jazz trade, one of the big trades that has been thrown around and many people want to see is the Indiana Pacers deal, right? Problem with the Pacers deal, the Pacers just want way too much. The trade proposal before THT was traded. So now who knows what the deal would look like. But it was Westbrook, THT, 2 firsts for Myles Turner, Buddy Hield, and Daniel Tice's 3-year contract. That is ridiculous. That is a we hang up the phone type of deal. And now THT has been traded for Patrick Beverley. So how does this deal even get done, right? And the Pacers are just trying to fleece the Lakers because they think that, it's desperation. They need to move off of Westbrook. They're getting 2 young guys. But Myles Turner and Buddy Hield, as great as they are, nobody's knocking on the door for them because Myles Turner could just leave next year and Buddy Hield's on a bad contract that doesn't offer anything but shooting. So teams don't want that, right? So the Lakers, if they have the Jazz deal, they could go to the Pacers and say, hey, look, we got this deal done. They're willing to do 1 first and 2 seconds for these 3 or 4 guys. So do you want to match that and we'll take Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, or do you want to, play hardball and we'll just go do this deal and you could lose Myles Turner for nothing and Buddy Hield, you can pay him. Go ahead. We don't care. Or we could do this deal. We could do this swap and maybe you get that. Or what if the Lakers can work out a 3-team deal with the Pacers? Now the Pacers asking price is ridiculous, primarily because for a while, it looked like the Pacers were the only deal that was available because the Jazz deal couldn't get done until 1, they traded Donovan Mitchell, but there was no guarantee, and 2, until today because Beasley and Vanderbilt can't be included in any trades until 2 months after they were previously traded. So the Pacers were looking at it as you have nobody else right now, and there's no guarantee that Donovan Mitchell is going to get traded. Well, guess what? Donovan Mitchell got traded, and now the Jazz want to do a deal. So is your asking price still that high? What do you want to do here? Now, so maybe the Pacers would be willing to move off of Myles Turner. If we do the Jazz deal, Buddy Hield makes no sense. There's no reason to go get Buddy Hield, and we wouldn't be able to get the salaries enough to go get Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. And if we tried to trade for Myles Turner individually, we still wouldn't be able to do it because our highest paid player that we could trade would be Kendrick Nunn. But the problem with Kendrick Nunn is that, it doesn't match the salary, so we wouldn't be able to do the deal even if we wanted to do the deal. And 2, Kendrick Nunn could be your 3rd best player if he's healthy and 100%. I mean, the dude shot 38% from 3, can basically play anywhere on the court, shoot anywhere on the court, play on the ball, off the ball, play some solid defense. The guy is a guy you want on your team, right? He could come off the bench, he could start. It would be huge for the Lakers. So how could the Lakers get Myles Turner in a deal? And that's where the Lakers could propose a 3-team deal, right? Let's say the Lakers trade for Beasley, Bogdanovic, and Mike Conley, right? They give up 1 first-round pick, and they give up, let's say, 2 second rounds, or maybe a pick swap in a second round, right? Well, you could then, before everything gets finalized, go to the Indiana Pacers and say, hey, why don't we give you Malik Beasley, and we'll give you, a 2 seconds or a second round pick or something like that. Because the Lakers, at that point, they wouldn't have to give up a first. I mean, they'd have that in their pocket if they absolutely needed to or wanted to. But if you're the Pacers, look, dude, we'll keep Beasley. We can keep Beasley. I have no problem keeping Beasley. But, Beasley would be great with you because you could have him and Halliburton in your backcourt. There you go. Now you got, Beasley's young enough to where he can be part of your plans, part of your future. If it doesn't work out, you can just let him go next year because he's on a team option. So you're going to lose Myles Turner. You're losing Myles Turner for nothing, and nobody wants to trade for Myles Turner, at least at this point. And your asking price is way too high. So you could either lose Myles Turner for nothing or get a young guy in Beasley. And now you got this young guy in Beasley, and we'll even give you a second round pick just for, helping us out. And then the Lakers could end up with this 3-team deal, end up with Mike Conley, Myles Turner, and Bogdanovic. That might be the best deal the Lakers could get because you still get your shooter in Bogdanovic. You get Myles Turner, who many people, including myself, want to see what the Anthony Davis, Myles Turner backcourt would look like. That would be absolutely huge. And good luck trying to score inside the paint. I mean, you're talking about the best defensive front court in the league. That would be incredible. So, and their salaries, based on the 125% rule, you could just do an even swap. So, the Lakers could even play hardball if they wanted to and not give up picks. But very likely, you throw in that second pick to entice the Pacers. It's we're getting a young player that's really good, that could help us now and the future. And we're also getting a second round pick. Cool. Lakers don't care about that. They're getting Myles Turner, Bogdanovic, and Mike Conley. Mike Conley can play the 1, he could play the 2, he could come off the bench, he could play some solid defense. He's a great 3-point shooter. You already have guys that can play your 2. The big thing was the wing spot. You needed some wing players. You're getting that in Bogdanovic, and then you have Myles Turner. I mean, literally, you could have a starting 5 if you wanted of LeBron at the point guard, Patrick Beverley, Bogdanovic, Anthony Davis, and Myles Turner. That's a really good starting 5. No joke. That is a legit starting five. And that is something that I think would make more sense, not only for the Lakers, but also the Jazz, or also the Pacers. My apologies. Because the Pacers, again, they get a young guy that can fit right next to Halliburton, play some solid defense, knock down some threes. He's young enough for your future. If you decide to go a different direction, the money falls off the books. So the Lakers still keep the cap flexibility in Myles Turner. It would be a fair trade for everybody. I mean, even just without any picks, it's a fair trade for everybody. And the Lakers could realistically get this done. Like, at least pick up the phone and call the Pacers and say, hey, what do you think about this? We're getting this Jazz deal done. Are you interested in a Beasley for Turner swap? And you might be thinking, well, who plays center? Pacers got some young guys, not just that, but, there are still centers in free agency. Pacers aren't going to be a playoff team. They're probably tanking for Victor, too, just like everyone else. So it's not the end of the world. They could go get like a Hassan Whiteside for a year or something like that, and they're good. And they get that young guy in Beasley that could really help now and for the future. But if you're the Lakers, you're at least picking up the phone and making a phone call and saying, hey, would you do, instead of us taking, because one, you don't seem too high on taking Westbrook and buying him out. Well, we're trading Westbrook to the Jazz. So what we could do is we get Beasley. We can send Beasley to you. You send us Myles Turner. So that way you're getting a young guy. You wanted THT in the deal. Beasley's more proven than THT. So you get a more proven guy, a guy that would fit your team very nicely. And we're taking on a guy that's just going to leave you next year. If you want to keep Myles Turner, go ahead. But we're giving you an out. We're giving you a way to actually get an asset for your future, not just right now. And, a guy that is has had some injury histories and stuff like that. A guy that's only put up 12-7. Yeah, he's a great shot blocker, stuff like that. But there's a reason teams aren't knocking and banging on the door to go get Myles Turner. But for the Lakers, it'd make a lot of sense this year. And it also gives you some of that insurance for Anthony Davis. I think that this would be the best deal. I think this would be better than Myles Turner and Buddy Hield. And I think this would be better than the Jazz deal. If you can get Myles Turner, Bogdanovic, and Mike Conley for ultimately a first-round pick, because I don't see the Lakers trading both firsts to the Jazz. They don't need to. The Jazz have to unload guys. So they're going to end up keeping a first. If you can finesse a way to get Myles Turner, Bogdanovic, and Mike Conley and still keep your first, you're set. Because if Kyrie does want to come, you still have that first to move off of Conley, and then maybe you can re-sign Turner and Bogdanovic. If Kyrie comes, maybe they'll take a reasonable deal. If not, you let him go and you have Kyrie. Or if Kyrie doesn't come, then you re-sign these guys and you're good. And you're probably one of the better teams in the Western Conference if everyone's healthy. This, I think, would be a home run for the Lakers. Absolute home run. So if they can make this work and they can figure out a way to get this done, they need to. But anyway, as always, these are my thoughts and opinions, and I want to hear yours. Again, this is just an idea. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not even saying it could happen. I'm not even saying that these three teams would be able to do this. There's no reports. There's no nothing. I just see a lot of people want Myles Turner. And I've seen a lot of comments of people if they do the Jazz deal, how could they go get Myles Turner? This is how they could do it. This would be the only way that they'd be able to get Myles Turner in the deal too. You'd move off of Beasley. You're basically swapping Beasley for Turner is basically what it would be. And I think that I would do that if I was the Lakers. If you could land Myles Turner, Mike Conley, and Bogdanovic, I think that's the best deal the Lakers could get because you get depth, you get shooting, you get defense, you get size, you get everything you need. Everything you need. This is huge. So this would be a home run in my opinion. But, do you feel the same way? Do you not? Do you want them? No, just keep Beasley. Beasley would be better for the Lakers. It's just, my thing is we have a lot of guards. We have a lot of guys in the 6'4" to 6'6" range already. And as great as Beasley is, that's where he fits, in that 6'4" to 6'6" range. So I just think he would be the most expendable. Bog, I'm sure people would rather probably trade Bog over Myles Turner, for Myles Turner over that. But one, that's not going to get the Pacers excited. Two, we need his size more than anything. And his shooting, his three-point shooting. He's just a great three-point shooter. So I just think however you shake it, this would be a great deal. But anyway, however you feel about it, let me know down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.